What's up?
So this is Trevor Lally from Arizona Combat Sports. Sometimes I do. Shit, I wasn't ready for this today. I would have had more shit. Okay, so let me know when I'm ready.
Action.
Okay, my name is Trevor Lally. I'm the owner of Arizona Combat Sports. I've been involved with mixed martial arts, big fights, small fights for over 20 years now. I started off in the United States, flew and lived in Japan, fought down in Japan. I pretty much fought in every country in the world. I put over 20 fighters in the UFC. My fighters and myself have been involved in every major organization in MMA since MMA first existed or started. We're talking UFC, we're talking Strikeforce, we're talking Bellator, we're talking Bodog fights, we're talking all the major organizations that are in existence and actually have ceased to exist. So I've been in this a long time. Good buddy of mine, Kelly Davis, came by and told me about his idea for another martial arts / combat sports, fight or competition and show. And my first response is, here we go again, the same old thing, regurgitated, thrown up, and everybody's gonna be tired of it already after the first show. But Kelly came over from the pro boxing side, and he had an idea of how we can, because that's the big thing, right? How can a boxer do against an MMA fighter? Everybody wants to know that, right? But it's really hard to get the elite boxers to compete with elite MMA fighters, right? So how are you going to make that applicable for both guys to be like, I think I can do this, right? So Kelly's idea is to do a 3-round fight. First round, all rounds are 5 minutes. First round is you have to get by the boxer in his world, which is boxing, right? And a lot of these MMA guys think they're actually control their hands and all this, and they think that they can get inside on a boxer, they can tie up a boxer, and they think they can defend themselves against, 200-year-old sport, or shit, how old is boxing now? Boxing's been around a long time, right? And mixed martial arts, as far as combative sports, is just kind of getting off onto the ground. Figure out how we can get a competent MMA fighter against a competent a boxer. And when we're talking competent, we're talking about world champions, ex-world champions, people who've been around the game, people who can sell pay-per-views themselves, right? You're never going to get them together right off the bat and be like, okay, boxer, you have to defend all this stuff, and you have to, go through all this takedown stuff. And why is a boxer going to do that? They train their art. They train to dismantle somebody with 2 hands. They don't train takedowns and all that stuff. So it's kind of a hard deal to get a boxer to just walk right into the MMA world, right? But now if you sprinkle a little, dessert in front of a boxer saying, hey, look, they got to get by you with what you do that first 5 minutes, right? They got to get by your boxing before they can do their kickboxing, right? And so that my eyes kind of lit up there, and I'm like, wow, you're convincing a boxer at a high level to compete against a high-level MMA guy, and probably one of the best ways to do that is to let them try and get through their sport first, right? So, that will probably scare, all your lower level MMA guys, maybe your basic wrestlers, your jiu-jitsu guys, the boring guys, right? We don't want those guys anyways. We want guys who want to come in and throw down, right? So if they challenge themselves in the venue of the boxer and they can get by that first round, then they got the kickboxing, the Thai boxing. They get to use their knees, their elbows, all that good stuff in the second round, right? And all this stuff is done in a cage. By the 3rd round, the takedowns come in. Now that boxer is completely in the world of an MMA fighter. And I think that's appealing to some people because, A, can an MMA fighter at least last 5 minutes on the feet with a boxer? That's going to be exciting in itself just to figure out, right? It could be really ugly, it could be really dangerous for the MMA fighter, or it could be a great fight, right? You have a guy who's struggling to, survive a 5 minutes in a world with, that's all this kid's done. Right, that's all this boxer's done, right? And once you get by that, well, how does a boxer deal with the kicks, the elbows, the knees, the clinch work, right? And then after that, how does a boxer compete with an MMA fighter in a cage with takedowns, with groundwork, with elbows and knees on the ground? I mean, how can that boxer survive? So, A, can an MMA fighter survive in the world of a boxer? And if he does, can a boxer survive in the world with an MMA fighter? So my eyes lit up. And all these names started immediately going through my head about what MMA guy I could get to scrap with a world champion or ex-world champion boxer and make it be exciting and competitive. So I was already taken there, right? So I think this world, what we're going to see is, the whole problem with can a boxer beat an MMA guy is you're probably never going to see it in itself, right? Because the MMA is going to want MMA rules, the boxer is going to want his rules. But if we bring it to them where they both get a chance to show their skills, all they have to do is survive the world of the boxer or survive the world of an MMA fighter, you might be able to convince some of these fighters to come in there and take a chance on finding out, you know, who is the real baddest dude on the planet, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's just, it makes for some really exciting matchups, right? So real exciting matchup and some exciting fights, because honestly, I'm an MMA guy, but I grew up as a boxer and a Thai boxer, and all of my fighters, even I've had some of the strongest wrestlers that I've ever fought to the UFC, some of the strongest fighters that were wrestlers came out of this gym. Guess what? I taught them how to stand up, right? I taught them how to bang, because in my book, if you can't take that person down and you can't stand with them, how are you going to fight them? So when Kelly's talking to me about exciting fights, immediately I want to see guys who can throw down, right? I don't want to see guys who are going to hug. I don't want to see guys who are going to, you know, hold somebody up against the fence. I want to see guys who are actually going to throw down. And to me, you know, you put a boxer in a cage and he's kind of out of his element and he's a little nervous about making it to the second round, and I'm damn sure he's going to be nervous about making it to the third round. That boxer's wanting to throw as hard and hit as hard and throw as many punches as he can to get that martial artist out of there. But that martial artist has got to be a little bit smarter that first round. He's obviously not going to exchange, well, some knuckleheads might. He might not want to exchange punches with that boxer, but he's got to figure out how to survive that first round and how to start dismantling that boxer in the second round, whether it be through punches, but probably more so kicks, clinch, elbows, knees. And you see clinch work a lot of times in boxing, right? Boxers clinch a lot, and I think that's what they would be underestimating, just the clinch work of an MMA fighter, right? Of a Thai boxer, of someone who wants to survive. You can get in on a boxer a lot, okay? But in boxing, they just break it up and they say go. But in this sport, you're not going to break it up, right? In the second round, in the third round, you know, if they get a hold of that boxer, he's going to be in a whole different world than he's used to. Now, can he adapt and train for it? Yeah. But sometimes egos don't let you do that, and we'll see the ones who are smart about, you know, learning a whole new craft. This is going to be a whole new style of fighting for the boxer. MMA guys have had a little taste of everything, okay? They're not up on the level of a boxer who just has to throw his hands, and he's been doing it for years. You know, the MMA fighter has to do the boxing, has to do the kickboxing, has to do the judo work, has to do the wrestling work, has to do the jiu-jitsu work, the groundwork, not to mention all the training that a fighter has to do. They're never going to look as clean as a boxer, but they have little taste in everything, whereas a boxer just has taste in his hands. So it's going to make for a really kind of exciting world out there, a whole new world. And the crap talking that'll come along with it between the boxers, the MMA guys, the Thai boxers, who's the baddest dude on the planet. That'll be kind of really exciting, you know what I mean? And we'll just see who adapts and who doesn't. If a boxer can't adapt to the MMA world, if it goes past the first round, he's in trouble. Right? If a boxer can adapt, let's see how long he can live for. You know what I mean? Can he make it to the third round or out of the third round? Can an MMA guy defend himself against a boxer's world-class punching? Right? Is he able to wrap him up, tie him up, hold on to him, or punch with him in that first round? That's going to be kind of exciting. And I think you'll get a lot of pretty cool knockouts there too. Not to mention in the third round, you'll get a lot of freaking boxers on their backs, I have a feeling. So it's just up for the MMA guy to get them there, you know, to make it through the round. So I think it can be a very exciting new kind of sport, and I'm really excited about it. And my job is to kind of grab some of the better or best MMA fighters that aren't currently signed and actually convince them that, dude, you were able to get through this first round, this fight's yours, the world's yours. You know, and if you get a really high recognized boxer in there, man, you get two different crowds coming in. You get the high-level MMA crowd, you get the high-level boxing crowd. That's going to be a big crowd, and that's going to be a pretty rowdy crowd, and it's going to make for more exciting fights. Because the energy, the crowd, the announcers, they'll get behind their one fighter. Let's just say you get an announcer for boxing, you know, he's going to be backing the boxers. You get an MMA announcer for, you know, or a commentator for the MMA, he's going to be backing their guys, and they can have a little go-between just like the boxers. So it makes for an exciting night, and just a whole new atmosphere as far as mixed martial arts. So yeah, I'd be excited. Stay tuned.